Hey there, guys. Tony, Forever DM. Um, I am starting a series today on improving DM qualifications and skills, and really for helping players out with adjusting to the game. We've got a big group that's growing all the time, and so we wanted to make sure that people felt like they had the skills. So, to that end, we're going to cover in this series a couple of key terms. One is metagaming. Metagaming is when you use knowledge that you as a person have outside of the game in order to influence the outcome of what's happening in the game. So, for example, if I as a player know a DM particularly well, then I might have some knowledge about how a DM uses traps or something like that. And we're going to see some examples of this. The retcon, or retroactive continuity, is when I sort of hit the rewind button and decide that I'm going to rehash something in order to make it continuous with the story or contiguous with the story. So that's something that we're going to address as well. We're also going to talk about dying and killing and PvP. We'll talk about min-maxing and rules lawyering. We'll talk about just how to improve your skills as a DM, as a player, and how to really get along with other players. So I wanted to put that up front so that we can really start to hammer home the skills that you might need in order to get better at playing D&D in groups and to feel better as a DM approaching a new group. So buckle up, here we go. Our first topic is metagaming. Metagaming is when you take information that you know from the outside world and bring it into the world of the game to influence character decisions or things like that. For example, if you are an expert blacksmith outside of the game, but your character is more of a bard, you may not know as a character about blacksmithing. And so that would be knowledge that you would leave outside of the game so that you could play the character and everybody could have more immersion. We're going to look at a couple of examples of metagaming, and then we'll do some brief explanations about what was wrong with the conduct that's being shown. And as you go through, just make sure that you understand that everything that we're examining in the series is going to be with the express purpose of making you a better player, making you a better DM, and helping you enjoy the game more.
All right. You both find yourself in the middle of a dark dungeon. The dank smell overwhelms you. As you look, there is slime coming down the walls. There is also tile work on the floor. Intricate tile work of white and black bricks. What do you do?
I'm going to check for traps. I've heard he uses these all the time. It's always the black tiles are really bad for you.
That's metagaming.
No, it's not. What are you talking about?
You're using previous knowledge that I've done before, and your character wouldn't know who I am.
What we've seen is a video where players were playing in a dungeon. The dungeon master had a really thick description of a dungeon. It was going really well. And then all of a sudden, one of the players comes up with something that he thinks the DM does kind of often. He talks about the players, the tiles. And this is a kind of metagaming because the player is using knowledge that he has about that DM, about games that he's played with that DM in the past, and using that to influence the actions of the character. That is a faux pas and something that you should look out for in your games. If you see a player doing metagaming like that, you should behave in the same way that the DM behaved in this way, which was to directly call it out. He wasn't stern with him. He didn't insult him or anything. He just said, hey, that's metagaming. We don't do that. And that's how you should react as a DM every time.
All right. You both find yourselves in a very large room where they house the dead, where there's a bunch of sarcophagi in the back. There's 4 Sphinx statues on either side of the sarcophagi. The room is very much Egyptian and pyramid-esque. What do you both do?
I'd like to venture forward and check for traps as I go.
Okay.
Oh, you don't need to check for traps. He uses this all the time in his previous campaigns and games. It's a fire trap. Every time he uses statue, it's a fire trap. So just miss the fire traps.
Yeah. Okay. It is a fire trap.
Here we can see the DM really put some effort into describing the dungeon that the players were inhabiting. But we can also see that he gets really disappointed when one of the players sort of betrays some information about the statues that he did not intend for the players to know. So it really sort of killed the vibe of that game, and you saw that the DM got a little dejected with that. So that's something to avoid, not only as a player, but also as a DM. Try to avoid getting really dejected with that, and instead just try and spice things up a little bit. So if a player does metagame and guess what your trap is going to be, just change it up a little bit and say, actually, again, call it out as metagaming, but then say, actually, you may not know what this trap is going to be, if there is a trap indeed. And then I would just keep on going with that information.